So I thought I'd put together this unofficial turn-by-turn guide for Sydney Motorsport Park South circuit, just to help people out. Maybe it's your first day out at this circuit, you're just looking for a little bit of improvement in your lap times. I thought I'd sort of break down the circuit and go through all the different corners and give some advice based on my experience driving there. I think there's a lot of people that have driven Wakefield or Sydney Motorsport Park GP circuit. South circuit's a little bit less driven, so there's a little bit less information out there for people to use. Hopefully you find it helpful and it improves your lap times. So I thought I'd just say something quickly about the car that's being used for the video. Basically it's a 2005 model NC MX-5, so a fairly lightweight rear-wheel drive car. It's only got minor engine mods done, so it's 103 kilowatts at the wheels. So not very powerful at all. Lots of suspension mods, some minor aero mods. So take that into account when you listen to the advice. I do have a more powerful car, a 2010 model Evo 10 that I've driven on the track quite a bit. So I will in a couple of sections talk about differences that should be accounted for different cars. So just coming across the front straight, getting ready for the downhill section, which is the braking zone for turn 1. So the track starts off with a 5-corner complex. Basically there's 5 corners which each lead into one another, and the important thing to remember through here is compromise. A bad line through any of these corners will compromise your position going into the next, and likely end up with a worse time than you would by trying to carry more speed through any of the individual corners. So really just concentrate on your lines through these corners, and use your throttle to steer the car around. You shouldn't need to use your brake after turn 1 and before turn 5, so just use the throttle to steer the car around by either applying throttle to push out or let off to give yourself a little bit of oversteer to steer yourself around the corners. Okay, so on to turn 1. Now you want to, as always, get your braking down in a straight line. Given you're coming down a hill prior to the corner, you might have to brake a little bit earlier than you usually would for the same speed. But you want to get a good entry into turn 1, run across the rumble strip here on the inside of the corner. Then you just want to stay across as far to the left as you possibly can. That just really sets you up for turn 2. So you're just resisting the push a little bit. If you find you're drifting out a little bit too far to the right, maybe back your speed off a little bit, and you'll make up the time you lose in the corner by having a better line through the rest of the complex. Okay, so we're on to turn 2. Like I said before, how you drive through turn 1 is really going to impact how you go through this corner. And if you set yourself up right, really it's going to be a pretty simple corner. Your car should already be pretty anxious to turn in, since the weight's going to be on the right hand wheels, since you've been resisting the car's intention in turn 1 to push out wide. And basically what we want to do is just focus on getting to the angled concrete on the inside of the corner. You just want to ride it till just before its end, and then start turning to the left for turn 3. So turn 3 is very similar to turn 2. How well you did the previous corner is going to impact how well you do this corner. And basically what you want to do is you want to just get up on the angled concrete on the inside, similar to the way you did on turn 2, and then aim for this piece of concrete that's on the inside. And the piece of concrete is basically there to stop people from cutting the corner and straight lining it, but you want to straight line as much as possible. So get as close to that on the left as possible, ride the angled concrete, and then aim up towards the next marker that we'll show you at turn 4. I'm going to pause at the start of the in-car just to show you the little bollard that I'm talking about. So it's this little bollard just here. So turn 4 is pretty much rinse and repeat from turn 3, and your exit from turn 3 again is going to impact how well you go through turn 4. You're going to aim for the little concrete bollard on the inside and try and straight line it as much as possible through the corner. Again, I'll pause at the start of the in-car, just show you the little bollard I'm talking about, and that's the one. So turn 5's left-hander that heads down a hill into a short straight. Now you may want to use a little bit of brake here into turn 5, depending on how fast your exit is from turn 4, how comfortable you are, and possibly how much power your car has as well. Now there's two lines through this corner. If you've got a lower power car like my MX-5, you might be able to take a little bit of a tighter line and hug the ripple strip a little bit more and still be able to use full throttle on the exit of the corner. If you've got a more powerful car, you might want to enter the corner a little bit wider, have a later apex, just so you can apply more throttle on the exit of the corner. Now, what's going to happen is, since you're heading down a hill, you on a straight, you're going to be using as much throttle as possible. Your objective basically is to have the car pushing out after the corner towards the ripple strip you're going to find on the right hand side of the circuit. It's a little bit deceptive. You can probably use more throttle than you think. It's just a corner where you're going to build more and more confidence, and you'll be able to go faster as the day or days wear on. Turn 6 is the first of two hairpins, and in my opinion probably the most technical corner on the whole circuit. Basically what you want to do here is you're going to be downshifting after that small straight into a gear, maybe even as low as second, which I do in my car, and you want to be using your brakes not too early. You want to keep a little bit of weight over the front wheels just to assist with your turning into the corner. You're going to be turning in quite tight towards the end of the ripple strip on the right hand side of the circuit. You're going to be turning towards the ripple strip on the inside, sometimes even touching it, and then the car will naturally push out towards the outside ripple strip, which when you exit will be on the right hand side. Now in a higher powered car, there's going to be a lot of temptation to use the accelerator, but you're going to have to really be careful. It's just going to spin the wheels. Even my car, if I use the accelerator too much, I can definitely spin the wheels going uphill, and the relatively low speed you're coming from. So just something to be careful about, and just be mindful that you need to get across to the left again for turn 7. I've combined turn 7 and 8 because I almost feel like they're interconnected corners. Turn 7's quite a steep uphill hairpin, quite similar to turn 6 but the other direction. You're getting across to your left following turn 6 to prepare for this corner. You're going to start your turn in the middle to late of the ripple strip on the left hand side. You turn in towards an apex in the middle of the ripple strip on the inside on turn 7. Start using a little bit of throttle as you're heading up the hill. You might get a little bit of wheel spin again just due to low gear you're using here and the steepness of the hill. You'll push out towards the edge of turn 7 on that ripple strip, and then you want to accelerate and start straight lining through turn 8 towards the back straight. Turn 9 is probably the simplest corner on the whole track. It's almost just like a bend in the back straight. Basically you just want to apex towards the end of the ripple strip on the left hand side and maintain as much throttle as possible and then get yourself set up for turn 10. So turn 10 I see as being quite similar to turn 1 in that it is a relatively quick entry to the corner coming off the back straight, and also the exit of turn 10 turns into the entry of turn 11. So there is a little bit of compromise required on the line that you take through the corner. If you're in a lower powered car, in terms of the brake marker, around the 50 metre sign's about right. If you're in a higher powered car or your braking capacity isn't as high, you might want to pull that back a little bit. After you come through the corner, basically you want to start turning in a little bit in from the ripple strip. You want to be aiming, there's a little dip in the ripple strip on the inside of the corner, so if you want you can get into that and use that to pull yourself around the corner. You can also take a more wider line, not use the ripple strip, and rely a little bit more on the lateral grip of the car. that's fine as well. But the main thing you want to be conscious of is that after you come out of turn 10, don't get too wide. You're going to have to come across to the left just to set you up to be able to straight line through turn 11 and turn 12. So on to turn 11. So the thing that first needs to probably be said about turn 11 and turn 12 is that they're relatively close to the pit wall. So going fast through these corners should be done with a little bit of caution, and you should build up to it just because that pit wall's so close and it's concrete and it will hurt your car if you hit it. So a little bit of caution is advised. Now what you need to do here at turn 11 is try and get as far to the left as you can following turn 10 and try and straight line it as much as possible through turn 11. Now there's a lot of rumble strip there on the inside. You want to use as much of it as you can. You basically want to get all the way across just before you'd be sort of hitting the grass, and what that's going to do is that's going to allow you to sort of straight line between turn 11 and turn 12 and just later carry more speed more comfortably through those corners. But like I said, build up to carrying a lot of speed through these corners. You shouldn't be using a brake after turn 10, so turn 11 and turn 12, no brake. So turn 12, quite similar to turn 11, you want to try and get across and use as much of the rumble strip on the inside of the corner as possible. And then on the exit of this corner, again the pit wall's close, so be careful, but you can also push out and use a little bit of the rumble strip over there, and you should be starting to feed back in accelerator as much as possible, so you can accelerate between turn 12 and turn 13. Turn 13 is quite a quick corner coming onto the front straight. Basically what you're going to want to be doing is you're going to want to be turning in just towards the end of the ripple strip on the outside of the exit of turn 12. You're going to come back in and you're going to really want to apex towards the middle of the ripples on the inside of turn 13. Maybe a little bit later in a wider line if you have a more powerful car, just so you can apply more throttle on the exit of the corner. And then you're going to be coming out towards the exit of pit lane. There's a concrete section on the exit of pit lane that angles down. It can be used at some events. You can put two wheels over. Some events they won't let you put any. But something to be cautious of here is that if your car does start sliding, don't keep the foot well to the floor. On the day I filmed this video, actually, there was an Evo that went into the wall here, just I think either from accelerating too much or just letting off the accelerator completely when it started to slide. I went onto the inside wall. So again, use a little bit of caution here because this wall, I've seen a few cars go onto it in the inside. Thanks very much for watching the video. Hopefully it was helpful to you. I'm just going to put on an uninterrupted version of the lap just so that you can watch the whole thing in its entirety without any interruptions to talk about the different corners. I hope it helps, and see you out on the track.